Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and realizing that the life you've been chasing for years was never running away from you. It was waiting for one thing, not more money, not better luck, not the perfect opportunity, but for your mind to finally become quiet. Think about that. What if every door that seemed locked wasn't actually locked at all? What if your own fear, your endless overthinking, and the constant pressure inside your head have been standing in front of the door this entire time? Here's something most people never realize. The louder your mind becomes, the harder it is to hear the opportunities life is trying to whisper to you. And that's exactly why some people seem to attract success effortlessly, while others spend years chasing it without ever feeling satisfied. Today, I'm going to tell you a story, not about magic, not about luck, but about a simple shift that quietly changed thousands of lives and could completely change yours, because once you understand this principle, you'll never look at success, peace, or manifestation the same way again. There was once a young man who believed he had to fight for everything. Every morning, he woke up with anxiety. Every night, he went to bed exhausted. His phone was filled with motivational quotes. His bookshelf was full of self-help books. He watched successful people online and wondered, what do they know that I don't? So he worked harder, he slept less, he worried more. He kept telling himself, if I push just a little harder, everything will finally change. But strangely, the harder he chased happiness, the farther it seemed to move away. Have you ever felt that way, like you're doing everything you're supposed to do, yet somehow life keeps slipping through your fingers? If you have, you're not alone. Because millions of people live exactly like this every single day. They confuse movement with progress. They mistake stress for productivity. They wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. But deep inside, they're simply tired. Not because life is impossible, but because their minds never stop running. One afternoon, completely exhausted, the young man sat alone on a park bench. For the first time in years, he wasn't looking at his phone. He wasn't planning tomorrow. He wasn't replaying yesterday. He simply sat there in silence. As he looked across the lake, he noticed something interesting. The wind suddenly stopped. The water became perfectly still, and within seconds, the lake transformed into a giant mirror. Every cloud, every tree, every ray of sunlight appeared with stunning clarity. An old man sitting nearby smiled and quietly said, "Funny, isn't it?" The young man looked at him. The old man continued, "The lake didn't become more beautiful. It simply became calm enough to reflect what's always been there." Those words hit him harder than any motivational speech he'd ever heard, because in that moment, he realized the old man wasn't talking about the lake. He was talking about the mind. How often do we convince ourselves that life is the problem, when in reality, our restless thoughts are the only thing preventing us from seeing clearly? Most people spend years trying to change the outside world. Very few ever learn to calm the world inside them, and that's where everything begins to change. Here's something that successful people understand, but rarely explain. Your mind is like a magnet. Whatever you repeatedly feed it, it begins to search for. Feed it fear, and it finds problems. Feed it doubt, and it notices obstacles. Feed it gratitude, and suddenly opportunities begin appearing where you never noticed them before. The world didn't change. Your focus did. And when your focus changes, your decisions change. When your decisions change, your life slowly begins changing too. But here's the mistake almost everyone makes. They think manifestation means sitting quietly and hoping the universe delivers everything they want. That's not how real transformation works. Real manifestation begins the moment your inner world changes, because the version of you who constantly worries can never build the future that the calm version of you is capable of creating. And that's where our story truly begins. The old man stood up from the bench, smiled, and before walking away, he said something the young man would never forget. Your future isn't created by what you chase. It's created by what you become. At first, those words didn't make sense. The young man had spent years believing that success belonged to people who pushed harder, worked longer, and never slowed down. But that evening, for the first time in years, he went home without rushing, without checking his phone every 5 minutes, without comparing his life to someone else's. He simply sat in silence, and something unusual happened. Nothing around him changed, but something inside him did. It was as if a room that had been filled with noise for years had suddenly become quiet. And in that silence, he heard something he had ignored for far too long, his own thoughts. Not the thoughts of social media, not the opinions of strangers, not the expectations of the world. His own. That's when he realized something that changes every successful life. Most people don't lose because they aren't capable. They lose because they're mentally exhausted before the opportunity even arrives. They spend so much energy worrying about tomorrow that they have no energy left to build today. Think about it. How many incredible ideas have been buried because someone was afraid to start? How many dreams disappeared because people waited until they felt ready? How many opportunities were missed simply because fear spoke louder than confidence? Here's the truth. Fear has a very convincing voice. It whispers, "Wait a little longer. You're not good enough yet. Someone else can do it better." And if you listen long enough, those whispers become your reality. But confidence works differently. Confidence doesn't appear before action. It grows because of action. The young man finally understood this. Instead of trying to control everything, he focused on controlling only one day at a time. Every morning, before touching his phone, he spent a few quiet minutes breathing deeply. He wrote down 3 things he was grateful for. Then he asked himself one simple question. What's the one thing I can do today that my future self will thank me for? Not 10 things, not 50 goals, just one meaningful step. At first, it felt too small to matter. But days became weeks, weeks became months, and those tiny actions quietly transformed his life. His mind became clearer, his decisions became wiser. People noticed a different energy about him. He wasn't louder. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He simply carried a calm confidence that couldn't be faked. And here's something fascinating. Opportunities that had always been there finally became visible, not because the universe suddenly changed, but because his mind was finally calm enough to recognize them. Now here's the part that almost nobody talks about. What if the biggest thing blocking your dreams isn't failure, but the version of yourself you've been feeding every single day? Stay with me, because this next idea has the power to completely change how you see your future. Imagine planting 2 seeds. One receives sunlight, water, and care every day. The other is constantly neglected months later. Which one grows into a strong tree? The answer is obvious, yet every day people feed fear, water doubt, and wonder why confidence never grows. Your thoughts are seeds. Every belief you repeat becomes stronger. Every story you tell yourself becomes part of your identity. If every morning you tell yourself, life is unfair, your brain starts collecting proof. If every morning you say, I'm growing stronger, I'm learning, my future is being built one step at a time, your brain begins searching for evidence of that instead. This isn't magic. It's the incredible power of focus. Your mind is always listening. The question is, what story are you telling it? Years later, someone asked the young man a question. What was the moment your life finally changed? They expected him to talk about a promotion, a business opportunity, a lucky break, or the day he met the right people. But instead, he smiled and said, my life changed the day I stopped trying to control everything. He explained that success didn't arrive overnight. There was no dramatic miracle, no secret shortcut, no perfect moment. There were still difficult days. There were still setbacks. There were still moments of doubt. The difference was this: he no longer allowed those moments to control his direction, because he had discovered something that most people spend a lifetime searching for. Peace is not the reward at the end of success. Peace is the foundation that makes success possible. Think about the strongest people you've ever met. They aren't always the loudest. They don't need to prove themselves in every conversation. They don't panic every time life becomes uncertain. When pressure rises, they become calmer. When others complain, they keep moving. When others quit, they stay consistent. That's real strength. And here's something worth remembering. The life you dream about is not built in one extraordinary day. It's built in ordinary moments that most people ignore. It's built when you choose discipline over excuses, when you choose patience instead of frustration, when you choose gratitude instead of comparison, when you choose to keep going even when nobody is watching. Every peaceful decision you make today becomes part of the person you'll be tomorrow. So if you're waiting for a sign, maybe this is it. Maybe today is the day you stop carrying the weight of things you cannot control. Maybe today is the day you stop comparing your journey to everyone else's. Maybe today is the day you stop asking, "Why isn't my life changing?" and start asking, "Who do I need to become?" Because everything changes when that question changes. Remember the lake from the beginning of this story. The water never forced the reflection to appear. It simply became still. Your life works the same way. When your mind becomes calmer, your vision becomes clearer. When your vision becomes clearer, your choices become wiser. When your choices become wiser, your future begins to transform, not because life suddenly became easier, but because you became stronger. So from this day forward, protect your peace. Guard your thoughts. Be careful what you repeat to yourself every morning. Speak to yourself with hope instead of doubt. Replace panic with purpose. Replace fear with faith in your ability to grow. And remember, you don't have to know every step before you begin. You only need the courage to take the next one. Years from now, you won't remember every obstacle. You won't remember every stressful day. But you'll remember the moment you decided that your mind would no longer be your greatest obstacle. That decision can begin today, right now. Take one deep breath, slow down, let go of what you can't control, focus on what you can, then move forward with confidence. Because the future you've been waiting for isn't waiting for a luckier version of you. It isn't waiting for a richer version of you. It isn't waiting for a perfect version of you. It's waiting for the version of you who finally believes, who stays calm under pressure, who acts with purpose, and who refuses to let fear write the next chapter of life. So relax your mind, trust the process, keep showing up, stay patient, stay grateful. And never forget this: a peaceful mind creates powerful decisions. Powerful decisions create extraordinary lives. Thank you for watching. If this message spoke to you, write peace in the comments. Not for me, but as a promise to yourself that from today forward, you'll protect your mind, believe in your journey, and keep moving toward the life you deserve. And if you're ready for more life-changing wisdom every week, subscribe and join us on this journey. Until next time, stay calm, stay strong, and keep becoming the person your dreams have been waiting for.